15.7 trillion naira by the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikule Amosu.
You're welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Sherry Queensley Bima. Here are the news making the headlines. Opposition mounts as National Assembly transmits PIB to Buhari next week. Health workers storm major markets in Abidjan to promote COVID-19 jobs. Russian passenger plane loses radar contact, whereabouts unknown. Bitcoin at lowest exchange supply in 6 months. First batch of Team Nigeria departs for Olympics today. Do stay with us after this very short break. I'll bring you the news in detail. Do not go nowhere. You're welcome back now to news in full. Opposition mounts as National Assembly transmits PIB to Buhari next week. The National Assembly may transmit the Petroleum Industry Bill passed by both chambers of the National Assembly to President Muhammadu Buhari for assent next week. A principal officer of the Senate confirmed that the Senate and the House of Representatives would harmonize their different positions on the bill latest by next Tuesday. The senator said the conference committee of the two chambers, which would harmonize the two versions of the bill, would start sitting before the end of this week. The coalition said the PIB, which offers the host communities 3% equity participation, was unacceptable and described it as a mischievous piece of legislation. The host communities advocated that rather than PIB to stand alone, it should be merged with the Solid Mineral Act to better tackle their plights, as they were denied the rights to their natural resources. The chairman of the coalition, Barituka Lonye, said in a statement that the PIB, rather than solve the problems in the oil and gas sector, would end up compounding them. And now moving forward from that story, Southern governors reject 30% profit share for oil exploration in northern Nigeria. Southern governors rejected the proposed allocation of at least 30% of the profit generated by the proposed Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited for the exploration of oil in frontier basins. And this was identified by Section 9 of the recently passed Petroleum Industry Bill. The bill will regulate the oil sector if signed by President Muhammadu Buhari. Although the proposed law doesn't identify the frontier basins, a statement by the president in 2019 identified the frontier basins as Chad Basin, Gongola Basin, Sokoto Basin, Dahomey Basin, Bida Basin, Benue through, amongst others. Currently, crude oil is obtained from 8 states in Niger Delta region, which include Abia, or Akwa Ibom Bayelsa, Delta, Edo, Imo, Ondo, and Rivers State. In a communique issued at the end of the meeting in Alosa, Ikeja, Lagos State, the governors commended the National Assembly for the progress made in the passage of the PIB. The communique was signed by the governor of Ondo State and chairman Southern Governors Forum, Oluwarotimi Asean. The communique partly read, the forum rejects the proposed 3% and supports the 5% share of the oil revenue to the host community as recommended by the House of Representatives. The forum also rejects the proposed 30% share of the profits for the exploration of oil and gas in the basins. The recently passed PIB has been heavily criticized by stakeholders in southern Nigeria, with the Pan-Niger Delta Forum describing its provisions as unjust and satanic and also provocative. And now, in another development, NAMA carries out rescue operations ahead of ICAO audit. The Nigerian Airspace Management Agency replicated aircraft accident search and rescue operations over the weekend ahead of the audit by the International Civil Aviation Organization. According to the NAMA, the aircraft accident search and rescue operation was carried out in preparation for the International Civil Aviation Organization audit taking place in the first quarter of 2022. The agency and some stakeholders in the aviation emergency rescue operations industry were present on Saturday at the Mafoluku area of Oshodi in Lagos to conduct a live aeronautics simulation of an air crash. The statement said the focus of the exercise was on a disaster that could result from an air crash and create a mass casualty incident which required a coordinated response from critical stakeholders saddled with the responsibility of managing aviation emergencies. The aircraft diverted to Lagos due to electrical problems, and on board were 38 souls, including 4 crews. It said 15 survivors were rescued while 23 others were unaccounted for. The managing director, NAMA Captain Fola Akinkutu, who addressed the participants at the end of the exercise, expressed delight for the huge turnout by different agencies and stakeholders. Akinkutu said were several gaps observed during the exercise, especially in the area of coordination and response to alert. And now news coming from around Africa. Health workers storm major markets in Abidjan to promote COVID-19 jabs. Health workers in Abidjan take vaccination campaign to traders at popular markets in Ivory Coast's financial capital city. With megaphones in hand, the health workers urged traders and shoppers alike to get vaccinated against COVID-19. Traders and customers at the market in Trichville, a neighborhood in Abidjan, gathered to register and receive their jabs from a mobile health unit parked outside. Ivorian authorities will ramp up campaign for the jab over the next 15 days in more than 130 markets in Abidjan. The aim is to reach those who were unable to get jabbed elsewhere, as some African countries deal with a third wave of infections. The World Health Organization said coronavirus cases numbers are doubling in Africa every 3 weeks. In Ivory Coast, 48,564 people have been infected with the virus. 47,936 people have recovered, and at least 315 have died during the pandemic, according to Johns Hopkins University. And our news still coming from around Africa. Ethiopian government chooses to foster period of silence in Tigray. Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, in an address to Parliament, expressed that his federal government has chosen not out of the military necessity to foster a period of silence to reflect on what is to come as far as the nation's northern region Tigray, the scene of a civil war for 8 months. Ahmed's remarks come 1 week after the Ethiopian government declared a unilateral ceasefire in the Tigray conflict and executed a claimed strategic withdrawal of federal forces to focus on other threats following the seizure of Mekelle and most of the rest of the northern region by the Tigray Defense Forces rebel group. The armed group viewed his reoccupation as a victory. Thousands of people have been killed in the conflict and many hundreds of thousands face hunger in Tigray, an important economic and industrial region in the Horn of Africa nation. According to the United Nations, over 400,000 people have already crossed the threshold into famine in Tigray, and 1.8 million people are on the brink of famine. Right now, we'll take a short break. When we get back from that break, I'll bring you news updates from Russia. Do stay with us.
ignites the flame for unbridled unction, sets the pace for uncommon impact. Get ready for a moment of change to protect your identity in International Youth Conference 2021. Theme: purpose, passion, and power. Ministry: Pastor Courage Imolere.
Powers that has vowed that you will always beg before you see favor. Powers that has vowed that you will always beg before you see lifting. After now, that yoke shall be broken.
Reverend John Asia.
The enemy takes advantage of our unbridled tongue. You are talking, be careful. You know, we look for trouble by ourselves, by too many information that we release out of our mouth.
Apostle Professor Johnson and Dr. Lizzie Suleiman.
A battle of service. Our youths these days, this generation, God will help us. Who will feel your impact? Who will feel your impact if you even choose to leave this place now? The battle of service is a battle that is confronting the youth today.
Nothing severs you from entanglement like addiction to God's word. Your addiction to God's word is your severance and your cure.
Date 6th through 9th July 2021, happening at the International Worship Center, Omega Fire Ministries, kilometer 132, Benin Okene, Abuja Expressway, Auchi, Edo State, Nigeria. The time is 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. GMT+1. For inquiries, please call. It's time to break bounds.
Welcome back now. News updates coming from Russia. Russian passenger plane loses radio contact. Whereabouts unknown. Contact has been lost with a passenger plane carrying more than 2,000 people in Russia's far eastern peninsula of Kamchatka. The AN-26 was flying from Kamchatka's main city to the town of Balana when it disappeared and failed to land as scheduled. 29 people were on board, including 23 passengers and 6 crew. Russian news agencies quoted local officials as saying there were 28 people on board, including 6 crew, and that there were 1 or 2 children amongst the passengers. There were conflicting reports of what may have happened, with one source telling news agency TASS that the plane could have crashed into the sea, and others telling Interfax it may have gone down near a coal mine close to Balana. Russia, once notorious for plane accidents, has improved its air traffic safety record in recent years. Russia also frequently experiences non-fatal air incidents that results in rerouted flights and emergency landings, usually stemming from technical issues. And now more updates coming from England. New rules for schools in England to be set out. England schools will find out later how the government plans to relax rules that have led to large numbers of pupils being sent home if a single child has a positive COVID test. Last week, the bubble system saw more than 375,000 children sent home. It has meant missed days of lessons for thousands of pupils and frustration for parents juggling work and childcare. The announcement will come amid a backlash to government plans to ditch rules on wearing of face masks. Labor rule, trade unions and some scientists have said now is not the time to change the rules on masks, as a case number continues to rise rapidly, driven by the new, more infectious Delta variant. At a Downing Street press conference on Monday, Boris Johnson confirmed he intended to scrap the laws on mask wearing and social distancing in the final stage of England's COVID lockdown roadmap on the 19th of July. The date will be confirmed on the 12th of July after a review of the latest data. And our news coming from the world of business. Bitcoin at lowest exchange supply in 6 months. The amount of Bitcoin held on exchanges has been on a steady decline since mid-May, and at the current levels, exchange supply is at its lowest since early January, according to crypto analytics firm Sentiment. Sentiment said the 6-month low is a promising sign, as it generally will indicate that there is a decreased risk of more major BTC sell-offs. Although exchange inflows began to spike in early May, a steep sell-off followed after the middle of the month, with Bitcoin sell-off intensifying on the 19th of May, culminating in a $1.2 trillion decline for the entire cryptocurrency market. While Bitcoin continues a downward trend, there is renewed confidence in the crypto asset, with adoption in places like Latin America and the anticipated shift in mining from China to other regions, breaking the China hold on the asset. Also, Binance, one of the biggest crypto exchanges in the world, has been having run-ins with regulators globally. Recently, Thailand Securities and Exchange Commission filed a criminal complaint against the company after the authorities in the Cayman Islands, the UK, and Japan issued similar warnings on it. And now, still on business news, non-oil sector driving Nigerian economy, says the finance minister. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Ms. Zainab Ahmed, has said the Nigerian economy is currently being driven by the non-oil sector. Ahmed said this while she led officials of her ministry to hold a meeting with the leadership of the National Assembly over the 2022 to 2024 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. In attendance were the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. Ahmed said, although the Nigerian economy experienced more revenue generation in 2020 from non-oil sectors, other sectors such as transport still remained in the negative. She recalled that Nigeria was able to make a quick exit from recession in the third quarter of 2020 despite the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the global economy. And according to her, this had an attendant negative growth on the Nigerian economy as a result of the significant and sudden drop in crude oil price in the international market. Right now, let's go on a very short break. When we get back, I'll bring you news from the world of sports. Do stay with us.
Hello, have you been searching for an appropriate platform to advertise and promote your product and services? Are you a minister of the gospel and you want your message to spread across the globe? Stop this search. We've got the coverage to give your voice and ministry the amplification you require. To get a rewarding and cost-effective solution to that business idea of yours, Celebration TV is here to take your dream to the climax. We provide the following services: voiceover production, documentary packages, video production of your event, video editing, script writing, affordable live broadcast of your events, and more. For more information, please contact us on +234 703 341 3637 or +234 816-234-8181. You can also reach us via our social media platform: Facebook Celebration TV, Instagram My Celebration TV, Twitter us at My Celebration TV, YouTube Celebration TV. And you can send us a mail at celebrationtelevision@gmail.com.
Welcome back, and now it is sport news. First batch of Team Nigeria departs for Olympic today. The first batch of Team Nigeria to the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games will depart the country today. This was announced in a statement from the media office of the Minister of Youth and Sports Development. The contingent, which is made up of 2 athletes, 2 coaches and 6 officials, will depart Nigeria via the Ethiopian airline flight from the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. Ayomide Bello and Esther Toko, who will be present, they would actually represent Nigeria in the canoeing and rowing events respectively, are joined by their coaches Ebenezer Ukuna and Regina Enofe for their trip. Also in the contingent are Secretary General of the Nigerian Rowing Canoe and Sailing Federation, Olubumi Olode, and the Special Advisor on Sports to the Sports Minister, Mary Onyali. They will also be joined by a medical crew which includes Dr. Samuel Okon Joseph, Abdul Salam Shraibu, and Ekundayo Ogunkunle. The second batch of the country's contingent will also depart for Kisarazu, Japan, where Team Nigeria will be camped on July 13th. Nigeria will take part in 9 sports at the Olympic, which starts on July 23rd. And now in another sports story, Naomi Osaka agrees to address press at Tokyo Olympics. The tennis star Naomi Osaka says she wants to be on top form at the Olympics and will take part in press conferences after pulling out several tournaments, citing a struggle with depression and anxiety. The world number 2 told Japan's national broadcaster she was getting ready to play on home turf at the pandemic-postponed Tokyo Games after having returned from Wimbledon and the French Open. Osaka set off a debate about mental health in June after abandoning her French Open campaign just 1 match in over a dispute on media duties. She later revealed her battle with depression and anxiety in a post on social media, saying she wanted to take time away from the game to get better. In a message published by NHK, Osaka said she was proud to play for her country at the Games, adding that she would take part in the news conferences, while giving consideration to her mental health. She was fined $15,000 and threatened with disqualification from Roland Garros after refusing to honor mandatory media commitments. Osaka's agent said last month that she had withdrawn from Wimbledon to spend time with friends and family, but he added that she was excited to play in front of her home fans at Tokyo 2020, which begins on the 23rd of July. We have come to the end of the news desk on Celebration TV. In case you missed the top stories, here is a rundown of the headlines. Opposition mounts as National Assembly transmits PIB to Buhari next week. Health workers storm major markets in Abidjan to promote COVID-19 jabs. Russian passenger plane loses radar contact. Whereabouts unknown. Bitcoin at lowest exchange supply in 6 months. First batch of Team Nigeria departs for Olympics today. And now it's time for the photo of the day. Can you see that? That clearly depicts the statement that goes, there is always more to what meets the eye. Success is not always what you see. Your growth is inevitable. You can share your thoughts about our photo of the day via our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are Celebration TV. On Instagram, My Celebration TV. On Twitter, at My Celebration TV. On YouTube, Celebration TV. Always bear in mind that your positive contribution to the wellness of the society you find yourself or the organization you work defines your leadership might. As an individual who knows what to do and do without expecting to be pushed has backed his way to success, be it known today that everything we do, think, feel, and believe either has a positive or negative effect on humanity and our national well-being. Make sure to be a part of nation building today. I am Sherry Quinsley Brahman. Thank you for staying tuned on the news desk. Goodbye.
To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing aim of committing a gross offence.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor, Ibikule Amoso,